From our 22 News Broadcast Center, this is 22 News in Focus.
Welcome to 22 News in Focus. I'm Don Schiffman. The National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, also known as the March of Dimes, has provided medical support for millions of babies and their mothers for 80 years. And during the COVID-19 health crisis, their services are needed more now than ever. Well, this month, the March of Dimes will be holding its annual March for Babies, but there's going to be some changes to how that event is happening. So joining me today to talk about all of this is Stephen Sykes, Senior Development Manager for the March of Dimes for the Boston, New England region. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you.
All right, first, I want to get some background just on the organization as a whole. So first, let's keep it basic. And what is the March of Dimes and why was it founded?
So the March of Dimes is a national charity started in 1988, but the focus around solving infantile paralysis, polio. It was the president's disease. FDR had it. So in 1938, the country came together and said, we're going to beat this dreaded disease called polio. So it's called March of Dimes because in the 1930s, people did marches on Washington. There was a great comedian named Eddie Cantor, and Eddie Cantor's idea was he used to do stand-up routines, and he used to do newsreels. There was a newsreel called the March of Time. So his idea was, let's do a March of Dimes. Let's have everybody in the country send dimes to the White House to fund the research to beat infantile paralysis, aka polio. So the March of Dimes was really the first organization to come out there to really go against this dreaded disease of polio and public health issues, and we actually beat it in 1955. So that's why we're called the March of Dimes, because people, moms and dads and kids and families all across the country would send literally bags of dimes to the White House.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has changed our lives. In the early 20th century, polio was really a terrible illness that impacted millions of children every summer. So how did polio impact the lives of Americans before a vaccine was found?
Yeah, so it's very similar to what we're going through right now. So there were what's called polio summers. Back before the vaccine, people didn't know what caused polio. Much like COVID-19, the first couple months of this, we didn't know what caused it. So in the 40s and the 50s, there were summers of polio outbreaks where people wouldn't leave their house, they wouldn't go to swimming pools, they wouldn't go shopping, they wouldn't do anything. Today we call it shelter in place and we call it quarantining. Then they just said, we're not leaving the house. So it's very similar to what we've been going through as a country for the past 2 or 3 months. But this was going on off and on, fits and starts, for years. So it was pretty similar and not very fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely not very fun. Dr. Virginia Carr has a local connection to us here. She attended Mount Holyoke College, and her work plays an important role in newborn and infant care. So what is the APGAR score and what does it detect?
So as you can imagine, we are very thrilled to be able to talk about Dr. Virginia Carr, who worked for March of Dimes for years and years and years. So what the test is, what the score is, it looks at 5 different features when a baby is born, immediately after born, generally within the first 2 or 3 minutes of life, and it comes up with a rubric of healthiness. The top being 10, the lowest being, of course, not very low, 1 or 2 or so. And it looks at things like muscle tone, respiratory, things along those lines. And it's used right across the country. And it's the first newborn screening that every baby has. Because if you can tell immediately the baby has something going on, you can solve it, you can work at it. That's what we do. That's what the APGAR test is.
Is every newborn baby in the United States tested at birth?
I certainly hope so. That's the plan, and I haven't checked all of them, but most of them should get that, absolutely.
And what other medical breakthroughs and research has the March of Dimes been a part of?
Yeah, so we're the only organization that absolutely solved what we started out to do. So in the 1950s, of course, we beat polio. So then what did we do? So in the 1960s, we said, well, rather than disbanding, let's start really trying to work to prevent premature birth and birth defects. So during the 60s and 70s, we really started working against birth defects and trying to do research to solve that. The 1980s, right? We started talking about, again, babies being born too soon, which is premature birth, and we came out with a big breakthrough called surfactant. Without getting all into the weeds, It's a steroid that helps babies born early breathe better and actually help many babies live longer. In the 1990s, against birth defects, we came out with folic acid, a form of vitamin B. We know that folic acid helps reduce certain types of birth defects. So because of our involvement, bread is now fortified, and then corn masa more recently is fortified with folic acid. We're seeing a reduction in neural tube defects, a word I really can't say very well, because of folic acid impact. And then right now, we are so looking at racial disparity. We're looking at many issues, but we also, as much as we know, we don't know what really triggers labor. So part of our big research is to try to figure out what's triggering labor. We think that not to get, again, too into the deeds, but we think the uterus has a pacemaker, and we think that for some moms, it's misfiring and causing premature birth. There's many things, but we think that might be one of them that we're looking at as well. I could talk forever about our research. I think it's pretty exciting.
It really, really is. And I want to talk about funding real quick, because I remember, if I remember correctly, I'm thinking back to my grammar school days. I remember the March of Dimes coming into the school, and I think it was for fundraising, and so we could go back to our parents and say, here's the March of Dimes, and here's what they do, and it was just kind of like an education type thing. But how do you guys fundraise?
So the majority of our funding comes from grassroots, right? It comes from, we call it crowdsourcing now, but, we're the first organization 50 years ago that came out with the walks, right? So we have big walks every year. Before that, it was really, we call them today third-party events, but people in neighborhoods would hold parties or bowl-a-thons or, climbing flagpoles or do things to raise money to send to help March of Dimes. Early 1970, we decided let's codify that. Let's have Walk America. So that's probably what you're talking about. We had folks who organized walks between 3 and 10 miles right across the country. So that's the major way that we get our funding. Of course, we have annual giving, and we do chefs events, and we do some events in the fall. But the vast majority comes from moms and dads and families back to our DNA, sending us $50 or $100 a year. So that's how we get it.
We're going to continue our conversation on the March of Dimes when we return. You're watching 22 News in Focus.